I've been waking up slow with the weight in my chest, like the sun forgot how to shine in the west. And I smile when they ask, say I'm doing just fine, but there's thunder rolling quiet in the back of my mind. Some days are light, and some days I fake, and some days I break for my own damn sake. Well, the thing is, I'm trying, even when the voice in my head keeps lying. It's a war just to get out of bed, but I breathe in deep and I face it instead. No, I'm not alright, but I'm fighting to be. Well, the thing is, I'm still me. I got friends who don't call, and I don't blame them. Hard to hold space when your world's gone vacant. And I wish I could tell you what's missing inside, but it's foggy in here, even with open eyes. I wear my silence like armor, I know, but there's hope in the cracks where the light starts to show. Well, the thing is, I'm healing, even when I don't trust what I'm feeling. Every scar is a line in my song, every stumble's a sign. I've been walking this long, and I don't have a map, but I've got my feet. Well, the thing is, I'm still me. I won't lie and say it's easy, but I won't hide the storm inside. If you're walking through the darkness, take my hand, we'll walk side by side. Well, the thing is, we're learning, and the fire in our hearts keeps burning. Even when the night feels too long, the strength in the fact we go on. So if you're not okay, let this song set you free. 'Cause the thing is, you're still you, and that's still enough for me.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
How you doing? Hi.
Everybody, how you doing? Oh, Jesus.
You forgot to mute that.
Yeah. So, tonight's live is about oppositional defiance disorder. I actually know somebody that has that. Man, they're off the chain. They are off the chain when it comes to destruction. Man, they don't even care if it's their own TV. But
Yeah, I don't think I could actually, destroy my own things. But that doesn't mean that, like, I believe every mental health condition comes on a spectrum, right? To where some are more severe cases than others. So as we learn about this and, talk about it, I think that people might learn something about themselves or someone they might know.
Yep. And I do agree. Not everybody that has ODD is as bad as the other person. There's different levels of it. I agree. So
I do believe the Cleveland Clinic one is really well written, but I like both of them. But I think the Cleveland Clinic one is probably the better one to go with.
Okay. I already got it open. So, oppositional defiant disorder is a condition in which your child displays a pattern of uncooperative, defiant, and angry behavior towards people in authority. ODD is treatable with psychotherapy and parent management training. What is oppositional defiant disorder? It is a behavior condition in which your child displays a continued pattern of uncooperative, defiant, and sometimes hostile behavior towards people in authority. This behavior often disrupts your child's normal daily functions, including relationships and activities within their family and at school. It is common for children, especially those 2 to 3 years old in their early teens, to be oppositional or defiant of authority once in a while. They might express their defiance by arguing, disobeying, talking back to adults, including their parents and teachers. When this behavior lasts longer than 6 months and goes beyond what's usual for a child's age, it might suggest that they have ODD. The majority of children and teens who have ODD will also have at least one of the other mental health conditions, including ADHD, anxiety, OCD, learning differences, mood disorders such as depression, impulsive control disorders. About 30% of children with ODD develop a more serious behavioral condition called conduct disorder. ODD behaviors can continue into adulthood if ODD isn't properly diagnosed and treated. So would you like to tell me what conduct disorder is?
What is conduct disorder? Conduct disorder, or CD, is a condition in which your child or adolescent shows an ongoing pattern of aggression towards others. They also show serious violations of rules and social norms at home, in school, and with peers. These rule violations may involve breaking the law. Children with CD are more likely to get injured and may have difficulties getting along with peers. Signs of conduct disorder include frequently breaking serious rules, running away from home, staying out at night when told not to, or skipping school, being aggressive in a way that can cause harm, such as bullying, fighting, or being cruel to animals, lying, stealing, or damaging other people's property on purpose. What's the difference between ODD and ADHD? Approximately 40% of children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, also have oppositional defiant disorder, or a related conduct disorder. While these two conditions commonly occur together, they're distinct conditions. ODD is related to a child's conduct and how they interact with their parents, siblings, teachers, and friends. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that causes a person to be easily distracted, disorganized, and excessively restless. Who does oppositional defiant disorder affect? ODD most common affects children and teenagers, but it can also affect adults and most commonly begins at the age of 8. Some children outgrow ODD or receive proper treatment for it, while others continue to have symptoms throughout adulthood. Boys are more likely to have ODD in their younger years than girls, but teenagers are affected equally. Your child is more likely to develop ODD if they have the following 6 risk factors: a history of child abuse or neglect, a parent or caregiver who has a mood disorder or who has substance or alcohol use disorder, exposure to violence, inconsistent discipline and lack of adult supervision, instability in their family, such as a divorce, moving to different houses often, and changing schools frequently, financial problems in the family, parents who have or have had ODD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or behavioral problems. How common is oppositional defiant disorder? Researchers estimate that oppositional defiant disorder affects 2% to 11% of children. This range is so wide because some children may be misdiagnosed as having conduct disorder, and teenagers as a population are often underdiagnosed. The prevalence of ODD declines with increasing age.
You know, these stats can be very skewed.
Yeah, they
And
can. Hey, Jennifer.
how you doing, Heidi Ho? How you doing? And the reason why I say this is because a lot of parents don't get their kids into therapy right away or at all. Or and then you got a lot of single parents who just let their kids do whatever.
Yep. And then there's also that thing of, um, something their child is just acting out or just being bad, and if I spank them, if I discipline them in specific ways, it's going to take this away. When you need sometimes more than just a firm hand, more than just discipline for certain children, because um, I have a cousin who has violent autism, and I believe he may be ODD on top of that. Um, he's always had a problem with authority since he was little. Now, here's the crazy part about him. If he respects you, right? Like, such as myself, my father, my mother, right? He's more likely to listen. If you're a person that he has no respect for, or doesn't feel that you deserve it, he is very defiant. Like, he will not listen to an authoritarian figure that he doesn't believe in, if that makes sense, like his own mother, because of abuse, right? It comes down
Yep.
to it. It's a trauma response.
So, what are signs and symptoms of ODD? Signs and symptoms of ODD usually begin by age 8. Symptoms usually remain stable between ages 5 and 10. It typically, but not always, decline afterwards. The symptoms are often apparent in multiple settings, but may be more noticeable at home or school. Signs and symptoms of ODD can be grouped into 3 categories: anger and irritability, argumentative and defiant behavior, and vindictiveness. In addition, many children with ODD are moody, easily frustrated, and have low self-esteem. They also might misuse drugs and alcohol. Anger and irritability. Signs of anger and irritability are part of the diagnosis of ODD. If your child has ODD, they may lose their temper easily, have frequent outbursts of anger and resentment, be touchy or easily annoyed by others, be frequently angry and or disrespectful. Argumentative defiant disorder is part of the diagnosis of ODD. If your child has ODD, they may excessively argue with adults, actively refuse to comply with requests and rules, blame others for their own mistakes, deliberately try to annoy or upset others. Vindictiveness is in ODD included. Be spiteful in seeking revenge, say mean and hateful things when angry or upset. What causes ODD? Researchers believe that the cause of ODD is a complex combination of biological, genetic, and environmental factors. Genetics. Researchers suggest that genetics account for about 50% of the development of ODD. Many children and teens with ODD have close family members with mental health conditions, including mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and personality disorders. Further, many children and teens with ODD can also have other mental health conditions such as ADHD, learning differences, and depression, and anxiety disorder, which suggest a genetic link between the conditions. Biological factors. Some studies suggest that changes in certain areas of your brain can lead to behavior disorders. In addition, ODD has been linked to issues within certain neurotransmitters, which help nerve cells in your brain communicate with each other. If these chemicals are out of balance or not working properly, messages might not make it through your brain correctly, leading to symptoms. Environmental factors. Having a chaotic family life, childhood maltreatment, and inconsistent parenting can all contribute to the development of ODD. In addition, peer rejection, defiant peer groups, poverty, neighborhood violence, and unstable social or economic factors may contribute to ODD, the development of ODD. So, diagnosis and tests. So, mental health professionals diagnose operational disorder if your child meets 4 or more of the symptoms criteria as described in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health, DSM-5. For at least 6 months, the DSM-5, published by the American Psychiatric Association, is the standard reference book for recognized mental illnesses. The symptoms must also be severe and disruptive to daily life. All right, Charlie.
Your child will likely need to see a child and adolescent psychologist or psychiatrist if they're showing signs of ODD. These mental health professionals can especially design interview and assessment tools to evaluate your child for a mental health condition. Psychiatrists and sociologists often rely on reports from the child's parents, siblings, friends, and teachers to get a full understanding of their behavior. Your child's psychologist or psychiatric will carefully assess your child. They must distinguish oppositional defiant disorder from the following conditions, which may cause similar symptoms: mild to moderate oppositional behaviors, untreated attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Management and treatment. How is oppositional defiant disorder treated? The treatment for ODD varies based on many factors, including your child's age, the severity of their symptoms, your child's ability to take part in and tolerate specific therapies. If your child has other conditions such as ADHD, learning differences, and or OCD, treatment of ODD should involve your child, your family, and their school. Treatment usually consists of a combination of the following: parent management training, psychotherapy or talk therapy, school-based interventions. Parent management training for ODD. Parent management therapy is the main treatment for oppositional behaviors. It teaches parents ways to change their child's behavior in the home by using positive reinforcement to decrease unwanted behaviors and promote healthy behaviors. There are different types of training programs, which usually involve multiple sessions over several weeks. During the sessions, parents learn to identify problem behaviors as well as positive interactions and to apply punishment or reinforcement as appropriate. PMT has been shown to decrease conduct problems in multiple contexts and family backgrounds significantly. Psychotherapy for ODD. Psychotherapy or talk therapy is a term for a variety of treatments techniques that aim to help you identify and change troubling emotions throughout thoughts and behaviors. Working with a mental health professional, such as a psychologist or psychiatrist, can provide support, education, and guidance to your child and your family. Common types of psychotherapy that help treat ODD include cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. That is a structured, goal-oriented, individual type of therapy. A therapist or psychologist helps your child take a close look at their thoughts and emotions. Your child will come to understand how their thoughts affect their actions. Through CBT, your child can unlearn negative thoughts and behaviors and learn to adopt healthier thinking patterns and habits. CBT-based anger management training is useful in treating anger problems in children with ODD. In older children, problem-solving skills training and perspective taking are helpful therapy strategies. Family-focused therapy. This therapy is for children with ODD and their caregivers. During this treatment, your child and family will join together in therapy sessions of psycho education regarding ODD, communication improvement, and problem solving skills. It can help identify factors in your home life that may contribute to or worsen aggressive behaviors. School based intervention for ODD. Supportive interventions to improve school performance, peer relationships, and problem solving skills are very useful in the treatment of ODD. These interventions may include education and tools for your child's teachers to improve classroom behavior, techniques to prevent oppositional behavior or the worsening of such behavior, other methods that can help your child follow classroom rules and accept social interactions, medications for ODD. Although there isn't medication formally approved for the treatment of ODD, your child's healthcare provider or psychiatrist might prescribe certain medications to treat other conditions they may have, such as ADHD, OCD, or depression. If left untreated, these conditions can make the symptoms of ODD worse. Outlook and prognosis. What is the prognosis outlook for oppositional defiant disorder? Children with ODD can experience significant issues in school, at home, and in social relationships. Mild to moderate forms of ODD often improve with age, but more severe forms can evolve into conduct disorder. A lack of treatment and parental support often lead to a poor prognosis for oppositional defiant disorder, while adequate treatment of coexisting conditions such as ADHD or OCD, individuals and or family therapy, and positive parenting are associated with a good prognosis. Prevention. Can oppositional defiant disorder be prevented? Although it may not be possible to prevent oppositional defiant disorder, recognizing and acting on symptoms when they first appear can minimize distress to your child and family. It can also help prevent many of the problems associated with the disorder. Family members can learn steps to take if signs and symptoms return as well. In addition, providing a nurturing, supportive, and consistent home environment might help reduce symptoms and prevent episodes of defiant behavior. Living with. How do I take care of my child with oppositional defiant disorder? If your child has oppositional defiant disorder, aside from getting them professional care, you can help them and yourself in the following ways. Build on the positives. Give your child praise and positive reinforcement when they show flexibility or cooperation. Take time out or breaks when needed. If you're about to make the conflict with your child worse instead of better, take a break and step away. This also sets a good example for your child. Support your child if they decide to take a break to prevent escalating a negative situation. Be consistent. Set reasonable, age-appropriate limits with consequences for poor behavior that can be enforced consistently. Be consistent about rules as well. Take care of yourself. Maintain interests and hobbies that you enjoy and practice self-care. Try to work with and gain support from the other adults who are interacting with your child. When should my child see their healthcare provider about oppositional defiant disorder? If your child has been diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder and their behavior becomes more severe or disrupts family or school life, talk to their mental health provider. If your child displays behavior that harms or endangers others, such as other children or animals, it is important to find them immediate care. A note from the Cleveland Clinic. Children and teens who are defiant or very disruptive can be very challenging for parents. When it's normal for young children and teens to show defiant behavior from time to time, frequent and disruptive behavior may indicate oppositional defiant disorder. Starting treatment early for ODD is important, and the first step treatment is to talk with a healthcare provider or a mental health provider. Don't be afraid to ask your healthcare provider questions. They're available to help. Hey, Kentucky Lee. Hey, Auntie Sherry. Welcome. Yeah, Miss Jen, yeah, OCD does suck. And a lot of the time, OCD, ODD, ADHD, they're all a lot of times in connection together. a lot of mental health conditions actually overlap. You know, not necessarily just because, like, let's say you had, you were defiant towards authority figures. Do you have ODD? ODD is when it becomes an extreme, if that makes sense. When it becomes where it disrupts family life, it disrupts your life in general, and it becomes overly so. You know,
What's up, Kentucky Lee? So I think when I was younger, I had ODD.
I kind of believe I did a little bit, and I'm gonna explain to you why. It wasn't towards authority figures, right? Mine was towards other peers, if that makes sense. And it was the anger, right? It was the anger outburst. I did have it towards my mom and other people occasionally too. I had really bad anger issues when I was real young, uh, but I did eventually learn how to control my anger. But I had really bad, like, I didn't want to listen to nobody about jack shit thing. And if I was right, I would pass away on that hill. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. There's also that I was very hard headed and opinionated, but that's side the point.
Well, mine was, I think I was just a very angry child. I didn't fit in anywhere. I didn't have the proper discipline. I was always getting bullied.
I will say this, like, here's the main thing, right, that I find with most of these conditions. Our parents try to do the best of their ability, right? Just like we as parents have tried to do the best of our ability. And we falter, we fall, we're not going to be the best. We didn't get, and they didn't get, a rule book necessarily on how to raise a child correctly. And especially for single parent households, like even myself, right, as a single mother for all those years, I had to do the best of my ability raising a young man. I will say for a woman raising a boy, when they get a certain age, they become very defiant and think that they can run over their mother, and they're going to do what they want to do no matter what. Not saying they don't respect their mother or love her. It's just, you're not going to tell me what to do is where their brain goes. My son tried that one time. Needless to say, I demanded my respect, and he never done that again. I told him, I don't care how big you get, I'm still your mama. I almost passed away having you. No, sir, we not doing this. And I have the most respectful son. Do you want me to mute you, Mr. Eddie?
Yeah, mute me, please.
Okay, gotcha. But I have the most respectful son now. You know what I'm saying? He is like amazing young man. So brilliant, so respectful. But I think all kids go through that sometime in their life. It just depends on how the severity gets, right? How the severity of the both go together. And I kind of wish you had been here Wednesday, even though we could talk about it tonight too. Miss Jen, we did go over OCD Wednesday, which OCD is the thing, ODD, and sometimes they go hand in hand, right? Just like when we were reading the article and whatnot, it showed that a lot of, and we all know this, a lot of disorders do overlap each other. And as we go back and we look, I want to go over like the anger and the irritability, right? The argumentative defiantness, the vindictiveness. Like that's part of it,
So, in my opinion, I think it takes more than just anger management if you have ODD.
I do believe it takes more than that. I must say, I think what helped my son get through it, and I'm going to tell you where I think his came from. His came from his father not being there and him not understanding why. And um, it took more than just anger management, right? It took me demanding my respect. It also took always being consistent with him and telling him this one simple thing. And I'm going to say this: it's not your fault. You're loved. You don't have to act out to get attention, right?
Yep.
Getting down to the root cause of why the child is acting out, why the person is being defiant, why they're having, anger or vindictiveness or irritability. If you don't work on the root cause of it, you're not going to help the ODD.
Nope.
Because there's trauma involved, I believe, with a lot of ODD. And even if us as parents have to admit when we're wrong, right? When we make mistakes and we have to be there for our child. Like, I will say that single parents tend to go through this more than two-person households, but two-person households go through it too. When parents are extremely strict, right? And kids want a little bit of leeway, or if parents are too loosey-goosey and not consistent, or if one child is treated better than the other. You know what I'm saying? Then the other child starts being resentful, and then they become vindictive and angry and, all these things, and it leads to ODD. Now, in my personal opinion, you may agree or disagree with me. I do think that a lot of ODD, can it be genetic and just be something you're predisposed to? Yes. But most of the percentages of it, in my opinion, come from what we read about child abuse, neglect. Comes down to having an alcoholic in the home or someone who's on drugs. Exposure can be your environment where you grow up. Because where I grew up in the hood, we were told, put your middle finger up to the police and say, you know what I'm saying? We were told to, in some ways, we respect our parents, but not all authority, if that makes sense.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, right? But I think it comes down to a lot of factors. I think, though, the more severe cases of ODD do boil down to child abuse or neglect in some way, or something happened in the household. And because the main root of the problem isn't worked on, just the anger or just the outburst, and not the cognitive behavioral therapy, not the talk therapy, not getting to the root problem. If that's not fixed, it's not going to help the person with ODD.
Yep. So I wish Mr. Awesome and Amazing was here to be able to share with his story.
I would love, to hear more about different people's perspectives with OCD, ODD. Like, where do you think your condition came from, right?
Yep.
For those who were not maybe here, but you're here now, for Wednesday's talk about OCD, if you would like to talk about like where you think yours came from in chat, I would love to hear that. Or any mental health condition that you're dealing with now, if you think it came from, anything. Because here's the thing: how do we help someone with a mental health condition, right? If we boil it down, first, talk therapy is one of the best things that you can do, which is what you're going to do with the therapist, correct? You're going to talk to them. They're going to give you more tools because obviously they're classically trained. But what are group therapies? But what we're doing right now, right? Talking to each other, getting it off our chests. That's what group therapy is about. in a group therapy setting where it's sharing our experiences, what we've been through, what we continue to go through. I will say this, my little cousin, when he was younger, I think he's gotten a better grip on it now that he's older, because they actually diagnosed him, misdiagnosed him when he was little with just ADHD. When he was 5 years old, he stabbed his teacher in the hand with a pair of scissors because she told him to do something he didn't want to do it. What does that sound like to you? ODD, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he actually got reformally diagnosed with autism. He's on the autism spectrum disorder. I also believe he got diagnosed with ODD. He got diagnosed with something called violent autism. It's actually on the spectrum of the autism spectrum disorder. Now, his brother also has a form of autism, but his is he's slower to learn. So, like, he is 3 or 4 years behind what his actual age is. He learns at a slower pace, and has the like, even now in his, because they're way younger than I am. Their mom waited to have them. She didn't think she'd ever have kids, and she didn't have them until she was into her 30s. She kind of babied the oldest one, but treated the youngest one really terribly, like bad. And he was such a good kid, such an amazing child. If you ever hear this, little cousin, I want you to know you were an amazing child, and never think that you were never loved, because you always were and always will be. I don't want him to ever think I'm speaking ill of him, because he went through a lot of shit. Between his mom's abusive boyfriends and having a gun stuck to his head at 6, 7, 8 years old, like a small child, which my dad came in and rescued the day, as a big uncle, right? And went up like you would, Mr. Eddie. You know how you'd go upside the dude's head? What the hell you mean putting, that to a child? Yeah, that was my dad and my grandfather both. They hated each other, but they band together for this situation. You know what I mean? To get those kids out of that situation, because he wasn't letting them leave. Both my dad and my grandfather got together in that car, and they went over there. Yeah, he moved out of the way. He didn't bother them no more. When you got a 6'5" giant, you know what I'm saying, staring you down. Yeah, they brought the big man with them, In therapy, you are doing SUDS and a fear ladder stuff for your OCD to figure out the triggers and potential causes. What does SUDS stand for? Let me see if I could look that up, because I want to know what that is.
Hold on. SUDS refers to substance use disorders.
Oh. I will say that I know where I'm not as severe OCD as my mother is, but I did pick up on her habits. I do think that sometimes with OCD, if we're around someone who has a severe case of OCD, your children will pick up on small portions of it, if that makes sense. Like, my mom had to have military style sheets. Everything had to be tucked in just so. House had to be clean just so. Everything had to be put up in orderly in its place. Shoes had to be in a certain place. Clothes had to be in a certain place. The way that she arranged the closets, the way that she did the groceries when she put them in the cabinet. Now, I will say she has since gotten better at it. So there is hope for y'all who are dealing with this. As you deal with it and learn to deal with it, it sometimes does get better. I will say that. Not 100%, but you learn to deal with it more, if that makes sense.
I've never heard of that, Vipering.
Subjective units of distress scale. Okay, so I kind of understand what that means. So they're exposing you to a stressor, right? And having you de-stress. Is that like small units at a time? Like a little at a time? Am I correct on that thinking or wrong, Viper? Oh, we should totally drop a link and let Viper come up and tell us about it. Because I've never heard of subjective units of distress. Hey, Remy. That's my beautiful brother. My favorite demon brother. It can't rain all the time, Remy. Yeah, I want to know if I'm correct in thinking about like they put a stressor in front of you, like a small stressor, and slowly scale it up. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, when you have PTSD or you have certain anxieties. So basically most skills were 1 to 10, and it seems like this goes from 1 to 100 to get more detailed. I just started it, so I'm still new to it. Okay, Radio Daddy, I'm sorry. I'll try to remember that, but you know how my ADHD is. The way my ADHD is set up, see what happened was in retrospect.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I will say that kind of therapy actually does help a lot of people. Like if you have some kind of phobia, if you have some kind of like, I'm a fucking guy, checkmate in one. Like let's say with my problem with riding in cars or driving, right? And I can't get away from that stressor. It's always going to be there, right? It's not one of the things I can use avoidance therapy for. Avoidance therapy is only good for situations that are not healthy. Like the fact that, okay, so I don't like being around alcoholics who fight. I can actually use avoidant therapy on that because I don't have to be around that, right? That's something I can choose to not engage in, correct?
Yep.
And it's not hurtful to my life. It's actually helpful to my life. Avoidant therapy, where they were talking about one of our articles that we've read, avoidance therapy is good in some ways on some things to avoid, in my opinion. Oh, hey, Vibrin.
Hey, what's up? Hey, hold on. I gotta explain this here in a second. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm like, I love learning new things, Vibrin.
There we go. Okay, let me get my sheet. Okay, so I just started doing this yesterday, so this is what we're doing now, and this is to work with my OCD problems and the triggers, because it's hard to really determine triggers and stuff when it's been so long if you wait too long to get help and shit. Okay, so it's a distress thermometer, and it's a subjective unit of distress scale, SUDS basically, and basically it's a scale from 1 to 100. It said most of the time you have 1 to 10 when you get scales on stuff. This is 1 to 100, so it goes from like totally relaxed on the scale of a 0, alert and awake, concentrating but well at a scale of 10, and then scale of 20 is minimal anxiety, distress, and goes up from there. Fear and stuff on scale 100 is fear, discomfort, anxiety, and high distress. But this scale right here is used for the fear ladder, and the fear ladder is the other part of it, which when it comes to my problems, like why I have to wash my hands or cover my hands before I touch a doorknob and shit, that's going to go off of that scale, which is separate of 1 to 10. And then you scale that, and it correlates with the distress scale. It's really, I don't know exactly how it works. I got all the sheets on it. and learning as I go. I have like a little scoreboard thing I have to fill out when I run into my OCD problems, like taking a paper towel off the paper towel rack. I always have to take the first paper towel off before I can use paper towels. Things like that. Anyways, it's a skill thing. I'm new to it. But it's supposedly they can go off that scale and they can figure out what mainly causes the stressors, and they potentially can. She didn't say you can't always, but you can potentially find out what the triggers are and the reason why you have the issue you have.
That's actually really cool. Because if you can find your triggers, right? Some of them you can get a specific kind of therapy to help you with the triggers, and on the ones that are, like I said, sometimes avoidance on certain triggers are better. Like me staying away from an alcoholics who are fighting, right? That's something good to avoid. But again, can't avoid being in a car, correct? That's something you have to do. So then they expose you to the trigger a little at a time until in a safe environment until you become desensitized to it. If that makes, like, they do desensitization therapy. Hey, Mr. Keith.
There was something I did learn also, which you would think it's a normal thing for parents and things to do that actually can cause OCD problems. And we were talking about this too, because it could be as easy as this, or it could be abuse, or it could be other things. But she did say that because I was growing up and I did come from abuse, but also some of the stepdads I had were like clean freaks and all that cleaning. And she said that sometimes it can happen to where your triggers are because of how you're raised, like clean your room, clean this, wash your hands, do this, and overly doing it can cause that. Is what she did say that. So that's from two professionals, actually. Two therapists said that.
Think about it like this. It's a learned behavior, correct? And sometimes it could be a learned behavior. If you're told, the way we learned our multiplication tables, right? We say them over and over and do them over and over and over again repetitively, right? So that it sticks in our brain. Well, if you, as a small child, are told to wash your hands overly, or clean your room or this, that, and the next thing, to the where it becomes military style, you become OCD. And it be like that person's OCD rubs off on you. That's what I was talking about with my mother. Like I have a little bit of her OCD traits. Like if I see a spot, that spot sometimes can bother me, right? And I have to get that spot off the counter. Just that spot bothers me. But then other times it's like that doesn't really bother me too much, right? It's other things that would bother her, right? It's just certain things, right? It specifically has to, for me, do with the kitchen. My mom was really OCD about the kitchen area. I have OCD because my chore was taking care of the bathroom, vacuuming the floors, and taking care of the animals and taking out the trash, right? So I was really OCD about bathroom cleaning. Don't know why. My room a little bit, but it was more so about, certain specific things because that's where her OCD kicked in and I kind of picked up on it a little bit. Thank God my mom didn't have germophobia too much. She did a little, but she didn't overly hand wash. She did more like spray the house down with Lysol, keep everything clean, bleach everything. You know what I mean? She washed hands, but not excessively. But I will say that it's not a bad thing sometimes for a little bit of OCD to rub off on your children, a little bit, because they will keep a clean home. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a problem when it becomes excessive, like anything, everything within moderation. And it does rub off a little bit when you're around someone who's a neat freak. So Viper, where you had like stepfathers who were like extreme OCD, it's very possible that you learned that behavior from them.
Yeah. And I also learned something new, and I talked about this before. I talked about this twice before. Um, I think on the old channel, maybe. I don't know. But I learned, because people like to have that stigma with OCD. Oh my God, you're going to clean everything. You're going to freak out over all this different stuff and all that. And it's like, what I've learned so far is that most people with OCD aren't like that. They're actually more hoarders, and
Hmm.
they have a lot more things that don't, like, for example, I don't dust. So my room can be really dusty, yet I'm very particular with touching things or stacking things right, or having things in alpha order, or having things in this specific order, or in a color order, or double tapping, or things like that. And I have those impulses, or what I guess they call them rituals or whatever. But and it's like everyone always thinks like, all because I'm diagnosed with OCD, that I'm a clean freak and I have to go and clean the house, and like in Matchstick Man type thing, where I'm
Yeah,
sitting
it's
there
not.
spraying everything and have to wear gloves and scrub everything down until the last little hair layers off and stuff. And it's like, it's nothing like that.
No, see, here's the thing. There's different. A lot of people don't understand that OCD is a spectrum, right? And there are different versions of OCD. Now, what most people think of OCD is the excessive hand washing, germophobia, or the neat freakness. That's not always the case. There are some people, like you said, who are hoarders, that they don't like to throw things away, and that's part of their OCD. And like they have a like specific way that their books have to be. But yet something else could be a total train wreck, right? Right next to them, it could be a train wreck. But then their bookshelf has to be a specific way. Their if they collect model cars or something, it has to be specific. Or they may keep them extremely clean and neat and nice and all these things. But this shelf over here hasn't been dusted for 6 months to just 2 years. But every person, I'm making a example of just off the wall things, that you usually people with OCD pinpoint on specifics of certain things. Like they may not be a complete germaphobe, but may not want to touch doorknobs, right? Or touch telephones or specific things. But it's a-okay to go to the grocery store. But yet somebody else might be okay to touch everything in their home, and the grocery store freaks them out, if that makes sense. Like it for each individual person, I think it's individualized on some things, and some things we're similar in, and some things not so much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, because I do go to the grocery store, but I don't touch anything. I have to use my jacket to put my hand in. That's why even when it's summer, I wear my jacket, because I can put my hand in my jacket to open doors and to grab things instead of grabbing it with open hand. I also carry sanitizer with me 24/7.
Did you ever think to maybe get you some of those? You can buy those food safe gloves over the counter. You can get 100 pack. Might be a little.
Yeah, I don't think about it that, like, and it's really hard because, like, in therapy we talk about this all the time. It's like, I don't think about it like that. I don't think about like, oh my God, I need to get a bubble to roll around in, or I need to get a suit to wear, or need to get gloves to wear. It's like an instant thing with hand sanitizer. I just spray my hands and rub my hands together, keep my hands in my pocket. I don't even think about it when I do things. It just happens. Sometimes I catch myself doing things. Like, for example, I don't sit there and rewash dishes and dishes and dishes over again. If I get a new plate, I normally get a paper towel, take the first paper towel, and it's just routine, right? First paper towel, rip it off, lay it on the counter. Take the other paper towel, I clean off the bowl that's already clean. I just have to clean it again, wipe it down with a paper towel, throw the paper towel away, and then I eat. I don't think about it. It's just an instinct. It's like
Yeah.
it just happens, and it's been like that since I was a little kid. Um, it's the
That
same
makes
thing
me
with like,
think that yours may be a learned behavior, right? Where it's not a thought process for you sometimes, and it's just a routine that you've done it for so long. If that makes sense, it's normal. It's your normal, right?
yeah, and you could say it that way, but then again, this is another thing we bring up in therapy. I've been dealing with this shit since I was a kid. I'm like 42 now, so 42 years of this shit since I can remember. And
it's going to take time to unlearn that. So don't beat yourself up.
And that's also why they're having trouble finding the triggers of my depression, my OCD, and all that other stuff. Is like when it's so long without, and that's why also I got my son help at his age and stuff, because I'm learning that going so long without getting help, professional help or whatever, it causes it harder to find the triggers, harder to find better solutions. You have to go through so many medications to find the best medication to work. You have to go through so many different type of therapy things to do it, like the stop practice and all that different shit. So yeah, it's I mean, and it's still a thing. Like there, and she even said there's a chance we might not be able to find anything that's triggering it. We just have to go off of, you know, what I can remember, things like that, because I do have memories that come back every now and then, but I can't say that I can't say that I was sexually abused. I can't say this and that. It's just these, because they could be false memories. You never know. Like, and that's the whole thing is, I don't know. This is a lot, dealing with a lot of stuff. I mean, I go every Thursday. We used to go three times a week, went down to 2 times a week. Now it's 1 time a week, but I got a folder I have to carry around, and I have all these things I have to practice and do. And like, it's almost like school. I have homework to do after I leave my therapy sessions. And if the therapy doesn't work for me, because sometimes it doesn't work, therapy doesn't work for people. Like the stop practice doesn't work for me because I'm a musician. I already count and do have tics and these triggers and things that I do with my fingers and stuff like that. So stop practice doesn't work for me. So I couldn't do that. So that's why we went to the other things. But yeah.
Well, see, if you think about it though, and hey, Mr. Chris Trock, when it comes to like OCD and PTSD and triggers, when you're little, you don't remember everything, right? There's gaps in your memory. There's things that happen to you when you're very young that you know, you may think was a false memory actually really happened, or vice versa. You know, when you're very young, your brain, like my earliest memory, this really messed up one. I have a few happy, but most of the most messed up ones is the ones that actually stick for some reason. Was my grandfather. I was like 2 years old or 3. I was trying to give him a hug, and he pushed me away and said, "I'll never love you. Don't touch me." As a young child, that is very hurtful. And he's got my cousin in his lap. My cousin and me are only a year apart. And now we made up years later, but that was a very traumatic experience, right? And then sometimes, you know, some memories you don't remember every single thing, or you remember little bits and pieces. And trying to find triggers for things of childhood trauma is, like you said, because you wait so long, your memory starts to lapse some, right? And so it's harder to find triggers. And sometimes when it's a childhood thing, it's a learned behavior, or it's a trauma response that you just kept doing so much so that you don't even know where it started. And sometimes, like your therapist said, there's no way to find the exact trigger sometimes, but there is a way to help it. Regardless, it's all about repetition. That's why she has you doing homework, or he does, when you come home, because it's repetition, right? You had to repetitively do that behavior to learn it, right? So to unlearn certain things, you have to repetitively do it. Just like when you have negative emotions or negative thoughts, you almost have to tell yourself positive, affirmations constantly in order to rewire your brain. You have to rewire your brain. It's pretty essentially what you're doing. You're taking 40 years of learned behavior, you know what I'm saying? Over 40 years, and you're rewiring your entire brain.
Yeah, that's what she keeps on saying. Keith, I don't think color really. I feel comfortable in darkness, so I'm gonna get this right. Hear what I'm saying? I'm a nyctophiliac. Nyctophiliac. That's feeling comfortable in the dark. Darkness is my comfort zone.
You might have
I
to
don't know if
that.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's what you mean by color related, but like black, I guess.
To explain, Mr. Keith, he is an autistic, a person who likes to do like deep breathing, likes to teach people about healing and colors and different things that can bring people inner peace. He has his own thing that he does on his channel. to try to help people in his own way. Um, and I enjoy his coin one that he does. He does while you look at the coin or you hear the bell, take deep breaths, and you know what I'm saying. It's really really cool the way that he does his own thing, but he has very good intention.
You might
Yeah,
have
I mean, I
to
don't.
break free of the darkness.
Yeah, the hello. I used to think. Okay, here's the thing. I gotta make Viper laugh just for a second.
But hold on, I'm going to be serious for a second.
Oh, well, you
I
be
wanna be
serious, then
serious.
I'll be stupid.
Yes, yes. Because you're so comfortable in the dark, that could be one of your problems. Could be. Not saying it is, but it's something you're comfortable with. So you might have to break out of that comfort zone little by little. You know what I'm saying, Vibrant?
Yeah, my therapist. So we talked about that with my therapist. We also talked the other day about me being allergic to humans. And she's trying to really get me to go out there and be around people and stuff. But that's another reason I have a chart to fill out, because things really annoy me, like people making noises or eating really loud and shit like that. So I don't know. It's stuff we're working on slowly. But the darkness thing, I brought that up. Like, am I messed up because of that shit? And she said it's not a problem. She said, like, everyone has their own comfort zones and stuff. The same thing with which she didn't like these words, but the same thing with what is it? What's the words? The words for people that like to be inside and people that like to go out and meet and see people. Fuck.
Yes,
Those
please do, Miss Jackie.
Those words, you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you like this, an introvert and extrovert.
Yeah.
They don't use those there, and they said that those are. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what she said about it, but she was explaining how it's not really. You shouldn't really think of it the way that everyone talks about it. And she was explaining it a different way, which made sense because everyone kind of almost makes it like a blanket term in a way. Like, they don't use it properly, because it's deeper psychologically. It's deeper when it comes to those two terms. It's deeper psychologically than what people portray it as. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Also, it's more of a spectrum than people think. You're not just extroverted. You're not just outtroverted. A lot of people have tendencies of both. You know what I'm saying? And or like I say, this is myself. This is my joke to myself, right? That I'm the most extroverted introvert you'll ever meet, because I'm good in a crowd of people. You know what I'm saying? I can read the room. I can make everybody happy. I can be the life of the party. But I hate being at that party, right? So I don't like being around people. Sometimes I don't like people at all. I'm like you, Viper. I'm like, ew, people. I got to make you laugh. I was going to make the joke a while ago just to make you laugh, Viper. Do you ever think you might be a werewolf or a vampire?
I am a vampire werewolf zombie.
Yeah,
and we talk about that too. We talk about that too in there. And she actually was bringing up stuff, and I guess we're going to work on it when I have my other sessions. But she was like, "Why do you claim yourself to be those terms?" And I tried to explain it the best way I could, but then she's like, "We'll talk about it next session," because we ran out of our hour session. But she wants to know why I call myself those terms, so I got to talk about that too. But I just don't like being around people. She's trying so hard to get me to go to these community events and stuff, and it's just like I feel more comfortable being at home with myself and stuff.
Yes.
I'd much rather do stuff online. But she's also cautioning me coming on these panels and stuff too. So
I'm gonna tell you what it is. She wants you to feel more comfortable doing what you're doing here in public. Coming here gives you the ability to talk to people. If you're forced to actually have to go out, if you didn't have these outlets, right, then you would have to be forced to go to those things to be able to have interaction. Sometimes that can be good. Sometimes that can be bad. It depends. Like, I understand where she's coming from a therapist point of view, right? But sometimes it's not good to do that when the person's not quite ready. You know what I mean? But sometimes you'll never be ready, so you have to take that leap of faith. And
I could,
it, I think small exposure therapy would be better. Small events, not big events, right?
well, yeah, that's
Small.
why I have the chart, because the chart I have to fill out like when I go and I use something to open a door or something. I have to write down. I have to write that down and give it the scale, and then put it on the 1 to 10 scale thing on the chart. And that's what I have to do now. So when I go and do things, that's what we're doing, because they're going to find out. I don't know how they do it. I don't. I'm not professional when it comes to this shit. They're going to find out, I guess, what are higher triggers and the reason why it's giving it to me and stuff like that. I don't know. I just do it and see where it goes from there. But I can explain why I'm a vampire, werewolf, zombie really quick if you want me to.
Actually,
I'm
I'd
a
love to hear it.
I'm a vampire because I'm pale as hell, and the sun boils me, and I hate being in the sun. Like, I hate light and stuff like that. So vampire, hence vampire. Can't be out in the sun. I'm a werewolf because I have the smell. I smell like a fucking bloodhound. And I can smell things that other
Hey,
people can't smell. And I also like eating meat. Like, the bloodier the meat, the better. It just makes my mouth water. I just don't know what it is. Same thing with zombie. Almost an insomniac, and it's almost zombie like, right? I'm a insomniac, and also, again, I like to eat meat. Like, I don't care if it's brains. I don't care what it is. I've eaten the grossest things ever in the world, and I'm a food person. Anyways, that's why I'm a vampire, werewolf, zombie. I also like scary movies and stuff, so it's like, the best way to explain myself is a vampire, a werewolf, and a zombie. There we go.
I've always said I'm a werewolf because I can't be a vampire. See, I'm like you. I'm pasty as hell and everything, and I burn the sunlight. But I like garlic too much, so I always joke around and say that I'm a werewolf. You know what I mean? Because I can't be. Yeah, that's my joke. But no, I used to be exactly where you're at now. It kind of like my sleep schedule is trying to get more natural now. But when I was younger, I never liked being awake during the daytime. I always enjoyed night. I had the unlimited energy at nighttime, no energy at all during the day, which was crazy. I'm still like that somewhat. I think that needs to be looked more into when we talk medically. I do believe there are some people who are more energetic in the afternoons and at nighttime versus during the daytime in the middle of the day, right? Um, and I think it's our rhythms, right? They got there's a word for it, Cascadia rhythms, or I don't know if I'm saying the word correct. But Miss Jackie, I would absolutely love to hear about your sons and how one of them has ODD, and because I think ODD, OCD, a lot of these things we've always talked about it. Mental health overlaps. It really does. A lot of it does. And same thing like Viper, and I want to keep an update on your journey. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that for your first interaction, I don't think you should be forced into a crowd. I think you should be able to stand a little bit back and slowly but surely get closer, if that makes sense. One step
That
at a
makes
time,
sense.
and not to try to do it and overwhelm yourself. Because if you overwhelm yourself, you're going to shut down, right? And maybe go to something that you will actually enjoy. So you like horror culture, right? You like things that are of that nature. Have you ever thought of going to a small convention for that?
Yeah, well, so what we've been talking about is me going to these little shops here or the library to do like Magic the Gathering or D&D in person.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I love D&D. Hey, Miss Jackie. Is it
But
Jackie or
Hello.
Jacqueline? Is it Jacqueline?
I cannot hear.
Oh my God, no, she can't hear us. Sad.
Hello?
We're here. We
hello.
can hear you.
This stupid thing.
Yeah, it
Um,
is a stupid thing. She's not wrong.
but Keith, my healing thing, to be honest, is music, and I've talked about this on here before too. I'm a music person. That's probably why I'm good with music, because I have all these ticks and these
All right.
I tap my
Hold
fingers
on.
a lot.
Hold on, Viper. Jackie, if you can hear me, okay. When you come up, change your settings to speakerphone. If you're using your cell phone, change your audio settings to speakerphone. Can you hear us now, Jackie?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Don't hang up, Jackie. Go to
She, she drops down so fast we don't have a chance to help fix her sound.
I wish she would comment in chat.
Hey, Tata.
If she's using her phone, she might not be able to see chat.
Yeah,
I
'cause
know.
yeah. Oh my goodness. I want to help her because I really want to hear, the story. Like I just, But no, Vikram with that situation, yeah, I would. Her suggestion for a D&D is something you really get excited about.
Hold up. If she's in chat, she's Jackie. All right, listen. When you come up again, go to your audio settings and change it to speakerphone. That way you can hear us and we can hear you.
We heard you just fine.
Yeah, we heard you. Make sure you change it to speakerphone and see if that works. And turn up the volume.
I'll be right back.
Jackie,
Hello?
can you hear us?
I can.
Yay! Okay, I'm so excited.
Okay, so I can. Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you, Jackie.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
I'm hearing myself.
Do you have YouTube on in the background?
Okay. So I have 3 foster boys. Let me check.
You might have YouTube playing in the background.
Yeah. I really want to hear her story too.
She'll come back. She'll come back.
Because I will say this also, I champion foster parents who actually decide to take that role and to step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? And be there for children, because it's not, especially good foster parents, because it's not the easiest thing to do. A lot of children who are in the system obviously have a lot of trauma. And for people who can do it, it's amazing. I know another lady, her name is just Andrea. She does it. I know that Twin Mama has done it. There's multiples people that I know of, and they're amazing. And they ended up adopting the children and doing so much. There was a family in not too far from here who, like a church family, who actually adopted a bunch of siblings who were in the foster care, and there was a church who actually decided, each family that could within them actually went and adopted and fostered a bunch of children to try to help, as because the system is so overrun, and they realized they had the extra ability to be able to do it. They had the time to give into the kids, they had the money, because a lot of people don't realize kids take money to raise, and so they actually decided to do that as a church was cool. Yay! Welcome back, Miss Jackie. Let's add her to the stage. Can you hear us now, Miss Jackie? Dang it.
The phone app is so hard to use most of the time.
For real.
Yeah, for me, music too, Byron, is a huge therapy for me. Uh, like the other day, I'm going to share. Yesterday, I had a really bad mental health day. I was in one of those just angry moods, just angry at the world, just everything agitated me, everything irritated me. Like if somebody breathed too hard, it's not even their fault. They're not even breathing hard, but that's the way my brain perceived it, right? And when I get in those kind of moods and stuff, I kind of sequester myself away from people because I will snap at them unintentionally, and I don't want to hurt the people that I care about or love. So I take myself and I go do listen to my music. I have a good cry, I have a good moment. I let my emotions out, and it helps me get over the issue, right? Or helps me deal with it a little bit better. Um, that I don't know where that irritability comes from, but it happens ever so often to me, to where I'm just irritated at the world for no reason. I'm just everything, every little thing. You know what I'm saying? Just and people around me are not really doing anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's just I perceive everything as an irritant, and it makes me aggressive and angry and snappy, and I don't want to say things to people I love that I don't mean. So the best way I find is to go have some time, chill out, play some video games, listen to some music, let myself, just that's why I didn't stream yesterday, because I figured, well, what if somebody I actually care about says something and just hits me the wrong way? And then I snap on them. I don't want to hurt nobody I love and care about, you know? And I think just music grounds me. And sometimes I'll tell you something else that helps me. I don't know about you, and with yourself being a nighttime person, maybe going outside at night, looking up at the moon and letting the night air breeze across your face. I also like to ground myself outside. I like to take my shoes off and have my feet touch the ground to feel the soil. I know that not everybody does that. And I know you probably don't, because I don't know if that would bother your OCD or not. Or just going out and touching a tree.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I wouldn't do that. But what I do is well, this is my son's. My son got it for Christmas one year, but I have a telescope, and I go out and look at the stars and the planets, and we have a really good telescope.
Hey, Miss Jackie, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us, Jackie? You can hear her.
Yeah, we can hear her fine. And there's no way we can fix that from our side. That, you know what I mean? That's kind of sucky. I wish I could help.
So,
Is Miss Jackie in the Discord?
no.
Darn it. So I was going to say, that's another way to possibly do it.
Yeah, that definitely is a way to do it. Have like a little closed private room. You pull people up there and talk to them.
Yeah. Viper knew where my brain was going.
She'd have to send me an email, and I'll send her a link.
1 minute.
Oh, I think she's busy doing something. That could also be a possibility, that as soon as she decided to jump up, something happened. Oh, and look how pretty she is. Miss Jackie, you're gorgeous, girl.
Am I here?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. I have 3 foster boys who live with me. I can barely hear you guys. I don't know why.
Turn your volume up.
It is all the way up.
Do you have it on speakerphone?
No.
Switch your audio settings to speakerphone. Now
But
can you hear us?
I will
Can you hear me now, Jackie?
I will try to give you a quick rundown, but I have 3 foster boys. Um, two are my grandchildren. One I have legal guardianship over. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
We can hear you, Miss Jackie, if you can hear us. We can hear you, love. Continue. We're listening.
Thank you. Okay, so I have 3 foster boys. One, my 9-year-old, who is not related to me, has autism.
You have it on speakerphone.
No.
What is going on?
Okay, hello?
Miss Jackie.
No.
She's on a delay. It sounds like a delay. All right, Miss Jackie, you know my email address? Okay.
I put your email address in chat under your name because I can do that. And this time I didn't say hey to people under your name. Ain't you proud of me? I'm doing
Yeah.
Yeah, especially not saying
like
the way
me.
I.
Hey, hubby.
Yeah, or sitting there
Well-
calling people love and sweetheart and stuff, telling people they sexy. But go ahead, Viper. Yeah, we're trying to just figure out the shaky thing, but
I understand. Yeah, I was just going to say that she's probably really behind. It sounded like it was the YouTube that was playing, and that's always going to be behind
Yeah.
versus being live on the thing. So the best thing is to also figure out what type of phone she has, because it is different between iPhone and Android. So when it comes to StreamYard app.
I'll tell you what might be a good idea, and this is personal thought process. If you get in touch with Miss Jackie, maybe do a possible interview with her, and see if you can get her in the Discord, and then stream the Discord to here. If that's the way some people do it, and then you put yourself back on main screen, but you have a screen share going of the Discord of her in there and whatnot, and yourself.
Yep.
Or put a picture up or something, like one of your banners, or media assets, like the background picture. But you could stream the Discord, screen share the Discord here.
Yep.
And that'll help, because I think it may be her connection, and Discord calls or VCs tend to be better than StreamYard sometimes. I would love to hear an interview about her, her foster children, and how, what all they have and how she helps them through it. Because to me, foster parents should be championed, especially those who do it with love and kindness and treat the children amazingly, because they're the parents that stepped up when they didn't have to. That's like my husband's adopted, and I love his parents. His parents are absolutely amazing. And they said they told him his adoption story. They did look at other children, but they felt a connection with him, and they knew he was their child. And his parents are freaking amazing. They're my bonus parents. I love them dearly. In fact, his mom got us all Valentine's Day things, and she got me some Ferrero Rocher because she knows I like those things, and I normally don't get them because they're kind of, a little high priced. So, yeah, like she knows my favorite chocolates and shit. And she's just amazing. And that's like, Viper, I want to say something to you and Mr. Eddie. I'm super proud of both of you gentlemen for going to therapies and not being ashamed of sharing your stories and what you go through, because men are meant to, a lot of times are other people try to make y'all feel ashamed of it. And I'm glad that y'all are strong enough men to be able to put out there, and you are leading by example, not only showing other men that it's okay, but also your children. You know what I'm saying? You're showing them that it's okay to go get help. It's okay to work on yourself and get mental health. And I just want to say I'm proud of you if nobody else has said it.
Donka?
Miss Jackie sent you an email.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of my mental health. That's why I talk about it openly. I'm completely open for questions, all that stuff when it comes to my past stuff, my past attempts and all that stuff, It's also my music. I write my music about it too, so. Oh my God, the damn dog hair all over the place.
Oh, yeah, I have that issue now. We got Dutchie, and Dutchie's a golden mixed with a husky, so she's longer. I had that problem on short hair a little bit, but not as much, right? Short haired, slick haired dogs do not shed as much, right? But now that we got her, I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I got both of them, and they're short haired. I don't know why they're shedding extra crazy this season. So fucking, oh my God, it's all over the place. I need to get them Pampers. I get them Pampers. I know people call it like rich white people stuff, I guess, but I do spend the money to get them pampered, get them like their baths and their brushes and their teeth brushes and all that stuff. They get the whole 9 yards. Because if I don't, man, their shedding becomes horrid. It's all over the place. And it's a lot too, because the small hair, they'll mix their hairs. So where Scarlett's shedding a lot, Lilith will come lay in it, and then she gets really itchy because she has a lot of Scarlet hair in her hair. And it's like, oh God. We try and brush them, but it's not the same as giving them a bath.
Yep. All right. Well, I replied to your email, Jackie. I sent you a link to the Discord. We'll figure out something within the next week. Maybe we could do a pre-recorded live interview, whatever, and talk about ODD and this OCD and autism.
Yeah, that's one of the things we got to cover. It's probably going to take a little bit longer, so it needs to be on a day when we both have really not much else to do, because autism spectrum disorder is actually a very large topic to talk about, and a lot of people fall under that category that we know.
Yep. All right, thank you, Viper, for coming up.
You're welcome.
You know, everybody in chat, thank you for being here. Well, the thing is,
See what had happened was in retrospect, we love y'all and huggies.
laters.